Nobody starts at the finish line. You have to start somewhere. In order for you to get to where you're going, to meet that destination, you can't think that you're going to get there instantly.
All right, there we go.
All right. So just, help shed some light on the aspect of, you're going to always see red flags, and how do you not everybody off where, we're not looking at the idea of perfectionism because we've been through some type of trauma.
Right. Yes. So there's good flags and then there's bad flags, right? So I help my women identify good flags in men and bad flags in men, right? There's a lot of ways that we kind of go through and depict it. And we kind of help ourselves filter through that so that, like you said, we're not just like, oh, okay, he did that, we're done. You know what I mean? Because nobody, I'm not even perfect. You know what I mean? And so I've always put like 3 indicators out there. The first one is, how do they treat you, right? And how do they treat, their parents, if they have parents? How do they treat the people in their life that they love, right? Because that's going to show you firsthand how they are going to treat you, as far as respect and how you should, approach a woman. And same way for a man, you know what I'm saying? So just looking at those indicators of how their behavior is when they're upset, right? Are they aggressive? Do they use foul language? Do they aim to destroy you when they're mad? Those are the types of flags that we look for. Cause like you said, hey, nobody's perfect. But it's always good to help you avoid the same cycle, right? Cause like for me, I was codependent. I only like one type of guy. That one type of guy was like, clean cut, super tall, athletic, you know what I'm saying, muscles and stuff like that. And so those are the types of men that I would chase, right? And the same types of things would always reoccur and always break through that same exact cycle. So it's about breaking those generational curses and identifying the red flags, but like you said, not being to the point to where that man has to be perfect, right? We're still just looking to identify the things in that man that could break us if we got into like a hostile type of environment, right? Because I'm noticing that men can have every right to be upset. They can be mad, they can, get angry because we're humans, right? That's how we feel. But it's about how they are directing that anger, right? Are they sitting there and emotionally abusing you, right? Are they saying they want to do certain things to you? Are they going to hurt you, right? Do they walk away for a minute? Do they cool off? Do they, take deep breaths and things like that? So it's just finding and filtering through those certain things of behavior. And also, how is that person taking care of themselves, right? Do they have a place of residence? Do they have like income and a job? You know what I'm saying? And different things like that, because a lot of men will use you for certain things. And so that's another way that we work through the different flags and different things like that. Because my friend, I have a very good friend. We have, we're equally yoked. So we like the same things. He's very respectful. He treats his mom with respect. He doesn't have his own place, but he lives with his mom and he takes care of himself. You know what I mean? So it's just looking through those different things. As you said, nobody's perfect, but still identifying the triggers and the red flags that could lead to another, abusive type of relationship.
I appreciate you for definitely sharing all of that transparency, authenticity, vulnerability, and I'm glad that you actually said, like us as guys, like we get upset too, like,
Right.
understanding that we all have emotions,
Right.
which emotions is just energy in motion.
Right.
And how do we channel that energy? Do we just say, you know what? I see I'm about to see red. So you know what?
Right.
I think I just need to stay within myself right now, and I ain't even gonna respond to you. I'm not even gonna say anything. I might need to take a leave or whatever because I know the only thing that I'm seeing right now, my energy that's in motion right now, I don't want it to be in motion. So I'm gonna just sit in it, and I'm gonna keep on moving. So I definitely want to say I appreciate everything that you're doing, all that you contribute, and again, your honesty, your vulnerability, and how you are definitely helping people to be great in your own way. So I appreciate that. So
Yeah.
how can people connect with you? How can they work with you? How can they find you?
Yeah. So I am on Instagram. That is my mainstream at this moment. My Instagram name is underscore life coach B as in Bravo. As soon as you get to my page, there is a link in my bio to book a free consultation call so we can just, have an open discussion and determine where you're at with your abuse. I like to always identify that first. Like, are you still with this person? Have you left this person? And then figure out how it's affecting your day-to-day life. That way we can figure out ways to overcome the trauma and the abuse, and then get into, okay, what is your gift? What is your purpose? What is your plan? And we can roadmap that and write it down. I always like to say, write things down so that you can reference back to that. Even when, because like you said, life happens, things outside of your abuse may come up. You may have PTSD. You may have moments of where you're not motivated. Depression plays a huge factor in a lot of these women. So we're just getting into the habit of being comfortable with where you're at, understanding what is hurting you right now and what you're trying to overcome, and how to get through that and reach those points in your life so that you can step on top of your pain and keep walking, right? So that's what I specialize in. That's what we talk about. I like to focus on the mind, the heart, the body, and the soul. And again, those internal sources that'll help you stay empowered and move forward and help you get into a good headspace so that you're able to get through those things, not just physically, but mentally as well. And as of now, that's how I connect with most of my people. If you're not on Instagram, if you're not active on social media, I do have an email address that you can connect with me to, which is the letter I, and then aspect, ASPECT @gmail.com. So if that's another source, they can reach me there. Again, I like to call it the I aspect, because you are focusing on you this time, and you're doing what you need to do to overcome that trauma and get through the things that you can in this life. That way you can interact with other people. And like you said, you're not sitting here like red flag, red flag, red flag. Like, you're thinking about things outside the box and being greater. Like you said, men have the potential to be upset. Just because a man is upset doesn't mean we have to run away for being scared of him, but still identifying how is he channeling that. And even if he doesn't know how to channel it, right, is he willing to learn how to channel that so that he's not impacting you or affecting you in a negative way? So it's going a long mile, and we're unraveling all these different maps and things, but it's about connecting and really, really getting into the deep root of who you are and figuring out that self-love and self-validation, etc., so that you can be peaceful with your life and yourself, and learn to be peaceful with the other people that's in your life.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. So with that being said, remember, greatness is within you. And y'all already know my challenge is always, always, always go and be great.
Yes. Very, very true.
All right, so now we about to, this is a little transition period of Ask Mr. Mindful Minute. So I'm gonna bring that in. All right. So now it's time for Ask Mr. Mindful Minute. So please, what questions do you have for Mr. Mindful Minute, Coach B?
All right. So the first question I have for you is, what advice do you have for women that have been abused and that have experienced trauma, right? So what advice do you have for them to start to build confidence in themselves?
Okay, so the first piece of advice that I would say is look in the mirror. Look in the mirror and apologize to yourself. The reason that I say look in the mirror and apologize to yourself, because I find it with a lot of my clients, they find it very hard to look at them and say, hey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for letting somebody do this to you. I'm sorry for not showing up for you the way that I should. I'm sorry for not speaking up when I should have. Because we know that we could do this for somebody else, but we can't always do it for ourselves. So that's one of the first tips that I would tell anybody, to actually do this. Apologize to you, because now you'll put yourself in a position of being grateful for you now stepping up for yourself. Because once you apologize to yourself, you now step up for yourself. That's the second step. Once you start stepping up for yourself and doing whatever you need to say, because there's some type of blocker on your throat chakra. And by you apologizing to yourself and you now stepping up for yourself, you are removing that blocker that is on your throat chakra, and you are now speaking to whoever you need to speak to, because you have spoke to yourself and said things to you in a way that you're going to value and appreciate. So when it comes to having more confidence, those are some of the things that you actually want to do. And of course, me being an affirmation coach, start with some of those affirmations and use your affirmations in a way that is going to remind you of who you want to be, not who you are. This is why I say the affirmations that's opposite of what you are, because saying something of who you want to be, you got to remember, everything starts in the mind. Everything is created twice, in the mind once, then in the physical. But when we look at it from the standpoint of, oh, I can even create the feeling that I want to create, not just physical things. I have to create, what does she look like in my mind? Well, when I walk past the mirror, do I say, man, she looks so good? When I put on my clothes, do I say, oh man, I feel so good? So visualize that. That's the next step. Do the visualization work of how you want to actually feel. So, and then see yourself doing those, and then hold on to those feelings. And remember those feelings that you had when you visualized it, because the brain does not know the difference between a subconscious thought and physical reality. And that is why when we are dreaming and we cry in our sleep, we cry physically, because the body doesn't know the difference.
Right. I like how you put that, because that's how it was for me for a very, very, very long time. Like I said, going back to my inner childhood, I didn't have my real father there. So I didn't have or face what real love was, you know what I mean? And so I watched a lot of romantic, old classic movies. And so in my mind, I was living this fantasy, right? That's why when I seen that one type of man, I'm like, oh, there he is. We about to hit it off. We about to be like it was in the movies. And it definitely didn't end up like that. So like you said, I was subconsciously wanting that, perfect family, white picket fence around the house type of look with this one type of man. And that is what I was doing, instead of facing the reality of, okay, Brittany, is this man good? Does he have good qualities? Does he respect your boundaries? Does he have good values? XYZ. I wasn't even facing that. I was still living in that fantasy world. And I think that's why it also took me so long to leave and ignore the fact that I was being abused. I kept making excuses for this person, because in my mind, this person was so-called fulfilling that type of fantasy that I created for myself. So that was just spot on. I'm glad you said that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. No problem. So what's your next question for me?
All right. So next question is, you actually, what you just said answered all of my questions in one. I like how you said to look in the mirror, because I feel like a lot of women, they're hard on themselves. And when you're hard on yourselves, it's harder for you to approach a better life and a better outcome. Right. So like me, I didn't feel like I was worthy enough. That's why I was battling those suicidal thoughts, right? I went through this horrible experience with this horrible person. I thought this person loved me and XYZ, and it was just too much for me to bear, right? So if I was talking to you, like if I was still the same abused, broken Brittany from back in the day, and you came up to me and you said, look in the mirror, that would have changed my life right then and there. You know what I'm saying? So you literally answered everything. I was going to say, what are ways you can overcome your trauma? Like you said, positive affirmations, self-validation, making sure that you look at yourself in the mirror, right? And you're using those opposition thoughts to turn it into something positive, because our brains don't know how to, normally process that. So you literally answered everything, you know what I'm saying, to the T.
Well, I'm glad it was helpful. I definitely hope that it was helpful to somebody that's listening to this as well. And, we got to remember, we have to remember that within ourselves, there is two things. There is discomfort, and then there's comfort. And we got to remember, when we're dealing with trauma, we have to push ourselves into discomfort.
Right.
Because being comfortable will keep us in a place of actually perpetuating the hurt.
Right.
But
Right.
discomfort gives us an opportunity for growth. So even when we're dealing with some type of trauma, we got to say, you know what? I know how discomforting this place is trying to deal with this, but I know it's going to help me to grow. And if I don't deal with it, I'm going to stay comfortable. Yeah, it's comfortable in the sense because it's too hard to do the work, but actually doing the work is going to help me to get out of it. Not doing the work, being comfortable is going to help me to stay in it, and I ain't going to actually be able to grow out of it.
Oh, I am so glad you said that. I am so glad you said that, because even myself and a lot of my audience, right, they're comfortable. And that is why they don't leave or do anything to heal or become better or see a better life for themselves. Like me, you know what I'm saying? I was comfortable, right? No matter how bad the experiences were, no matter how bad the abuse was, no matter how bad they aimed to destroy me, or no matter how bad I was being destroyed, right? I was comfortable. And the reason why I was comfortable is why I didn't move or why I didn't do anything, right? So I'm super, super glad that you said that. And now that you say that, what could you say? Like, let's say, okay, so let's say I reach a woman that left her relationship, right? Because she realized her worth, she realized this is not for her. But she's still kind of stuck with moving forward. So what are some ways that she can gain encouragement to move forward and learn to discover herself and finally start taking those steps of healing?
All right, so some of the things that they can actually do is start, and you talked about this earlier, journaling, right? But you actually want to start writing down stuff that you are good at. Like write down those things that you are good at and that you value yourself for. So once you start writing that stuff down, the next thing that I want you to do is go people that you do value their opinion. Say, hey, what is it that you think that I'm good at?
Right.
And now take that and then compare what you thought you were good at and then what other people said you were good at. And if they matched up, you need to start doing that more. And if it doesn't match up, you need to start saying, why am I not seeing myself the way that other people are seeing me? In a positive way, of course.
Right.
So now all of the qualities that you said that you have, and then the qualities that other people said that you have that you didn't even really pay attention to, just now start walking into those things as well, because what you naturally do, you're going to do anyway. But the stuff that you don't really pay attention to, I want you to start walking into that. So as you are walking into stuff that people are saying, no, you're really good at this and you're really good at this, do that stuff even more. I don't care if it's for 5 minutes once a day. Right. And so in my program, right, I tell people to do certain things in a certain format. I'm very big on the completion of 7. So do it 7 times for 7 days.
Got you. I like that because they're consistent.
Exactly. You're creating a level of consistency. Even if it's for 5 minutes, you do. If somebody say, hey, you know what? You are a very good communicator, or you're very good at putting outfits together. You're very good at drawing. You're very good at analyzing. I want you to do this stuff for 5 minutes for the next 7 days. Do that every single day. And then after you do that, you're going to now start viewing yourself the way that other people viewed you in a positive way. And you'll have the double effect of, man, I believe in me over here and I believe in me over here. So if I was capable of doing this, I'm now capable of doing this. And it is going to create a level of confidence in a different category of your life. See, people don't understand that you may be confident in one area of your life, but that doesn't mean you're confident in every area of your life. You know, we in a society where it's all about getting the bag and getting the money. So I might know how to teach you on how to make it a course and how to make it money and how to do this. But that don't mean that I'm confident in loving myself. That don't mean that I'm confident in speaking up for myself. That don't mean that I'm confident in not allowing people to talk to me a certain way. You're just confident in making.
Right.
That doesn't mean that you're confident in every area of your life. And we got to remember, being confident in one area of your life doesn't supplement you being having a lack of confidence in other areas of your life.
Right. And I like how you said that, because even when I was going through what I was going through, I was on autopilot, right? So I was going out to get my hair done and put on these, nice clothes and hanging out with friends and things like that. But inside, I was dying. Like, I wasn't taking care of my internal self value, how I viewed myself, my self-confidence, how I love myself. None of that. I was ignoring all of that. And I was literally getting up every single day, taking care of my outside shell instead of taking care of the inside of me and the different parts of who I was that would help me, build and continue with that confidence. So I'm glad that you shared that piece of information. I'm taking what you're saying and I'm applying that to myself as well.
All right. I'm glad I was able to help. Any other questions?
What is one reason why you think abused women should not give up on yourself and not let that trauma stop them from, moving forward in their lives?
Well, the reason that I say that, they definitely should, and obviously this answer is interchangeable for men and women. You shouldn't give up on yourself because nobody can be you better than you.
Right.
And I know what it looks like to see somebody abused. My mother was abused for quite some time, and I saw what it did to her. I was in abusive relationships, and I saw what it did to me. And I just know that once we get into that space of actually saying, no, you know what, I'm not going to allow this to take away from my true potential.
Right.
So, and once we actually do that and say, I'm not going to give up on me.
Right.
Well, now you have the capability of doing something phenomenal within yourself that you didn't even know that you had. You didn't realize that some of the most beautifulest flowers is only grown in the swamp.
Right.
And so sometimes we have to be in these unfavorable conditions, unfortunately, in order for us to get to our highest self. Because if you think about it, nobody that is very successful became that successful because they were good at everything. No, when you see somebody actually become successful, say in a sports event, well, it is because they actually lost other games that made them say, I need to work a little harder. I need to keep doing this. I need to keep doing that. And then, so it is in those traumas, those traumatic events, that we have the opportunity of doing something that people who have not been through that traumatic event, to do something that they may not ever be capable of, and that's being put under a level of pressure and a level of fire to get us to a place where we're stronger than we possibly could have. And so I use this analogy. I asked people, if you had the choice between carrying cotton and carrying sugar, which one would you pick? And most people will say, I would carry cotton. And I'll say, now remember, this load that you're carrying, you can't take it off. There's no dumping it out. There's no, you got to pick, whatever you pick, you got to carry that for the rest of your life. They say, okay, I'm going to carry the cotton. Cool. So what happens is you get so used to carrying light loads. And now when you get to a situation in life, say a body of water, and now you got to go through this body of water, you can't go around it, you got to go through it. What happens to cotton when it gets wet? It gets heavy. And so now you going through this body of water, and it gets so you neck deep in it. But the cotton has now gotten weighed down, and it weighs you down, and it takes you under. But if you was a person that was used to carrying heavy loads, that sugar, you used to problems, you used to stuff going on, you used to traumas, and you learn how to navigate life with those different things, right?
Right.
I call it organized chaos, right?
I like that.
You know, you're dealing with all of these different things over life, and it's this sugar, these loads that you constantly, people keep dumping sugar into your load. You keep dumping it in, but when you get to this body of water, what happens to sugar when it hits water? It
It
dissolves.
dissolves.
So now you get to this obstacle, this trauma in life, and you like, oh, my load is actually lessened because I'm so used to carrying stuff. I can walk right through it.
Right.
I didn't got on the other side of it. And
right.
you know, it makes you say, well, man, I'm actually glad that I actually was going through the experiences that I went through before I got to this one that is way, way deeper. And one thing that people want to remember is, wouldn't you want to know that you have a hole in your boat in the dock or in the middle of the ocean?
Right.
Because in the middle of the ocean, you can't fix the hole in your boat. But on the dock, before you going through stuff, before you navigating through life, you can fix those holes in your boat. So we have to look at it from that standpoint. Some of the stuff that we go through, these traumas, we gotta not give up on ourselves. We gotta continue to believe in ourselves, because who I became on the opposite side of this, I may not have been able to become this.
Right. And that's how I feel. That's why, like, when I do a lot of reflection and I get so emotional, and it's not tears of sadness anymore, it's tears of joy, because I'm like, wow, like I'm really this woman right now. You know what I'm saying? And when I was going through my abuse and everything, like I said, I didn't feel worthy. I had self-doubt. I didn't know that this Brittany was here. Right. And so I'm in such a better headspace. I'm in such a different light. I'm walking a lot more powerful, and I'm choosing to carry sugar instead of cotton. Right. And so it's everything you said is so real. Everything you said, I've lived it. I've gotten through it, and I'm here now. And it feels so good to be here, because like you said, I never knew that I could be this person. And now that I am her, it feels amazing. It feels really good. And that's what kind of helps me keep my head above water and keep my confidence and keep talking life into myself. And now that you shared the hand with me and everything, I'm going to start doing that now, and being more powerful, right? Because like you said, it's about how you say things as well. So this all was amazing. I'm like grateful to have you share gems. And I also learned that you do holistic, right? Or you say you eat plant-based foods and stuff like that?
Yeah, I'm working on becoming a holistic doctor. It's so many things that
oh my gosh,
when I say Mr. Mindful Minute is just like a plethora of knowledge of different things that, you know, I was a personal trainer for years, so I know about fitness. You know, I'm a certified nutritionist, so I know about health. It's so many different layers to where I can help people from. And that's why I use the name Mr. Mindful Minute, because I want it to be every time that you think about me, you think of something mindful.
Right.
And how can he actually help me to be mindful in some of the things that I'm, you know, talking about and speaking on and things like that. So yeah.
Right. And like you said, you know, you didn't give up on yourself. So look at you now. Look at how many attributes you have and how much knowledge and wisdom that you have, not only just to apply to yourself, but to share to other people, right? I know once you put this out, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to watch this and they're going to take, you know, gym after gym. So like you said, it's very important not to forget, not to give up on yourself, because you are blocking yourself from the blessings in this life and the opportunities and the way that you really are supposed to be here as. And now that you say that you're working on holistic, I'm highly interested. Like, I don't know if we need to do a separate session or whatever. Like I said, there's so many parts of my story that I'm slowly starting to unfold and unravel, because I'm starting to be comfortable with it, right? Which is what I teach my women, to be comfortable with what hurt you and make peace with that and things like that. And so I would love to set up another call with you so that we can talk about holistic and plant-based, because I'm actually trying to transition. Because right now I eat like chicken, I eat turkey, and I eat fish, right? And like raw vegetables and like rice and stuff like that. But I'm looking to increase my health and boost my immune system so that I can, you know, get onto the plant-based, which I know nothing about at this moment. And so I would love to, connect with you and learn more from you, so should I just go to your page and book another call? Like, how do I do this?
um, well, as far as that goes, I don't really, I guess I really don't, right now, I don't really like teach like from that aspect.
Okay.
I did on my other page, I was like put up, you probably saw a whole bunch of stuff on my other page and things like that. But if you have questions and stuff like that, you can just ask me and I'll just,
okay,
tell you.
because I don't want to, I might get on your nerves. You go like, oh, this is like supposed to be again. I might be sending a bunch of questions your direction.
No, which is, that's fine because I just use it as opportunities for me to advance my knowledge and things like that.
Okay.
I grow. Because the most important thing is we have to get to a higher level of self,
right,
in some type of way. And my firm belief is you can't get but so high in your level of self. A post that I saw a while back, which said, "How can you be pro-life and you consuming death?"
right.
And I said, "Oh wow, that's major." But
Yeah.
I had already been plant-based for years, and then I started doing a lot of research on the health aspects of what eating certain ways and things like that. And so, like, you were speaking a lot about like God and things like that. Like, I'm a ordained minister, so I understand everything that you're talking about when it comes to God in the Bible. And
right,
we got to look at scriptures where it talk about, oh well, you look at the 3 Hebrew boys and they said, no, we ain't gonna eat the delicacies of the king. We gonna just eat the fruits and vegetables, and we gonna be looking better and stronger than everybody here after a week.
right.
Now, I can attest to that for myself. I look way better than I ever did when I was eating meat to now to not eating. And I like people to understand that you can be plant-based and be very unhealthy. And a lot of people think that being fit and being healthy is the same thing. They are not the same thing at all.
Right.
I know a lot of fit people who are very, very unhealthy. Most people do not even know that most athletes are diabetics.
Wow.
Right? But you wouldn't know that because they don't put that information out there.
Right.
But
right.
so how is it that somebody who is fit can have the same health conditions as somebody who's unfit? Well, what is the bridging point? They eat the same way.
Right.
And so, we got to remember that, even plant-based doesn't mean that you're necessarily healthy, because French fries and beer is vegan.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't really, necessarily mean that, but when you do, and it can get kind of deep. It can get very deep and, and things like that. But obviously we're not perfect, so we can't live forever. So it's all about quality of life for me. And that's what I really try to help people to understand, is about quality of life. And so when you start navigating to quality of life, you'll actually start saying, well, even if I kind of fell off the wagon a little bit, it's going to phase out of my body and it's not going to be there for a long period of time. But what am I doing? Because I've literally, I know about fasting. I do it often. I know about intermittent fasting. I do that often. I know about detoxification, revitalization, and doing all of that different stuff. But I found myself, a lot of people. I used to think until I did it. I used to think that, oh well, I got fast and this in order to do this in a certain amount of time. But when you fast, when you go back to eating food, solid food, you'll put back on the weight because your body will start expanding and in gas and stuff like that, where you could actually lose more weight from still eating than actually not eating. Like, I lost probably like 20 pounds in a month without even exercising, just from actually eating nothing but fruit and vegetables. Wow. Like, it was more, and then knowing your body. See, it gets very, very deep because it comes to knowing your body and knowing your blood type. And then there's certain things that you shouldn't eat because of your blood type. And then there's certain things that you should eat because of your blood type. And then it's also knowing that when you eat fruits alone, it actually speeds up the healing process in the body. And when you're eating vegetables alone, it slows down your bloodstream. So now you actually can expand your blood. And so you can actually breathe better. So you can actually do more stuff. So again, it gets very, very, very expensive.
Okay.
So, but I would say, take it little by little, and especially I always say, don't don't wait to care about your health until it's time to care about your health. Like do it like as soon as possible.
Right.
And then that way, you look at it as far as the standpoint as a car, right? And I use a car analogy because I was I went to school to be a mechanic. So when you look at it from that standpoint, if you wait and wait and wait to go fix something on your car, well, by the time you get it to the mechanic and it then broke, well, he like it's gonna cost you more money to fix it now than if you just brought it and kept the maintenance of it. Well, it's the same thing with our bodies. If we just do little things here and there to keep up the maintenance of our bodies, well, we don't have to worry about when if something breaks down because we know that we're not gonna live forever. And as we age, right, our bodies is going to do certain things differently, whether we choose to eat good or not.
Right.
So now with knowing that information, that puts us in a position of saying, all right, well, I done did this, I done did that. So now I done did the maintenance work. And so when I go to the doctors and the doctors say, well, you might need to not do, I don't have to worry about them telling me to stop doing something because I did it on my own terms.
Right.
So, that's what I would say to you, definitely as far as that standpoint with when it comes into holistic stuff and navigating into that realm and as plant-based and things like that. But still being very careful because what affects a man's body affects a woman's body totally different. And so by me consuming certain things on a high level and then you consuming certain things on a high level is going to react, our bodies are going to react differently. And so even though we understand that like doing juicing and stuff is real good, right? But what I tell people is, well, even though you're juicing, you don't want to be juicing predominantly because you're still going to be missing certain things, certain fibers and stuff that you're going to need for your body in order for you to maintain in a certain way because everything in your body is a muscle, even the muscles that you don't think is muscles because your heart is a muscle. And so some of these muscles will start to get smaller because you're not ingesting some of the other stuff that the body would use in order to keep these muscles big.
Gotcha. Okay.
But yeah, just go ahead and hit me. I got you. No problem. Okay. This is Mindful Minute got you.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. I'm glad that I'm able to reach out and, get advice from you from different, angles and things like that. Highly appreciate you for this interview. And I learned so much. And I'm hoping that, everybody out there learned a lot from this interview as well today.
All right. Again, I appreciate you for coming on and for joining and everything that you do. Highly appreciate it. And thank you for this opportunity of speaking with me. I want you to have a great day.
Oh, yes, you as well. Also, I tried to go back and look.
You're in control of how you feel. You're in control. You are the determining factor of your feelings. No one else can control how you feel. Remember, you're in control how you feel. So control your feelings.